1-5, we're going to talk about rotation. Rotation is also a rigid motion. What other rigid motion did we talk about on Friday? What was that called? Translation. Thank you. Translation. Okay, so rotation is a rigid motion that moves a figure along a circular path about a fixed point. There is something called the angle of rotation, okay, and it's defined by 2 rays. So here, I have my original image, this is my mapped image. How do I know that? How do I know that this is my original image and this is my map? What?
Because your A's and your C's and your B's have the little one.
Little
That's what I did on my homework.
Yeah, the little tick marks. So, okay, this angle here, do you see how from here, it's all being rotated about this origin, okay? But if I start from this original image and go to the end of this new image, this is what my angle of rotation is considered. So it makes a ray off the 2 images, okay? It makes angles off the 2 images. And in this case, it is a 90-degree clockwise rotation. So everything that you do either has a clockwise or counterclockwise rotation. If it is clockwise, it is a positive rotation. If it is counterclockwise, it is a negative rotation. Okay? Here I have a negative rotation because I have a counterclockwise rotation happen. Okay? We're going to look at a lot of pictures today. If I drew a triangle, let's say I draw just this triangle right here. Okay? This triangle I know is 45 degrees. Why do I know that that triangle has a 45-degree angle of rotation? What?
Because 2 of them equals a right angle.
Yes, because 2 of them equals that 90-degree block. Yes?
Yay.
Okay? So I know if I rotate this triangle once, I've rotated it 45 degrees. If I rotate it twice, I've rotated it 90 degrees.
145. 135.
145.
145, right?
Then 4.
180.
185.
1,
2,
3,
20,
What?
23.
225. 3.
2, 40, 50.
Whatever that number
50.
is.
I forgot what we were
60.
adding to the number.
60, no. 277.
And then the last one.
Plus 45.
100 and
360.
360.
Okay, so you can rotate depending on what the image shape is and depending on where it bisects those angles or those quadrants, okay? So you need to pay attention when something is on a graph, where in the quadrant it falls so that you know what angle of rotation it is. Now, if you have, we're going to talk about this a little bit later on too. Let's say I have an image like a pentagon, a regular pentagon, okay? I can figure out angle of rotation because how many sides does a pentagon have? 5. And if I take 360 and divide it by 5, what do you get?
360 divided by 5.
Where's the calculator? 7, 1, 10, 72 degrees.
So it would rotate by 72 degrees.
Wait, I was right.
Oh, is it? I think it's 72. I don't know.
Abby, you're sick.
Yeah. Okay, so you're gonna have to use some common sense here, see what type of shape you got, see what type of angle it's at, and all that fun stuff.
Oh.
Okay, see,
No,
360
you
divided
said
by
she
8
did.
equals 45, because there are 8 triangles that fit within here.
She could
45-degree
definitely
angle of rotation, okay?
With words.
Now here, I have just this, look,
Is
this
it
is,
a kite?
this is our original shape right here,
Ain't making no cake.
okay? What degrees is that?
90.
90, so each one is going to be a 90-degree angle of rotation, okay? So if I rotate it 4 times, it will get back to create the 360, okay?
Correct.
Okay, so here you go. I kind of gave you this, and you're gonna try to figure out a pattern for me. Before I just give you the rule and tell you this is what the rule is, I wanna see if you can put it together. Okay, what is the original image?
Upside
The
down right.
black one.
The black one. The blue one is the new image, and it's rotating. Is it rotating clockwise or counterclockwise?
Counterclockwise.
Counterclockwise, so it has a negative angle of rotation, okay? Let's see something. Let's compare these points. Look at point A and mapped point A. What do you notice about them?
They are the same, it just
They're
flipped.
almost
The negatives I moved and that's
So do the numbers.
Simple.
The X is now the Y and the Y is now the X.
That's
And now
not true. That's not
Yeah.
true.
No.
It literally
Yes.
has
3 is
3,
negative.
1 and 3, 1.
Okay, so on the new one, the 3 became negative and the 1 became positive, the sign flipped,
Sorry,
yes?
that's my bad.
The sign flipped. Did that happen on B as well?
Yeah.
See.
And on C?
Yeah.
Okay, and what type of angle of rotation does it say is happening? So what is my rule with 180 degree of rotation? What do you
The
think?
sign split.
The sign split.
Oh
So
my
if
gosh,
x is
yes.
positive
What?
and y is negative, x becomes negative,
And
y
y
becomes
becomes
positive.
positive.
If it's negative, negative, then it becomes
Positive,
positive.
positive.
If it's positive, negative, then it becomes
Negative,
If it's
positive.
negative, negative, or positive, positive, then it becomes
Negative, negative.
So the rule for 180 is that the signs flip, okay?
So it's the rule of 180.
You literally don't even
So
have to have a
The
map.
rule of 180 rotation, you don't even have to do math, you don't even have to draw it out, you can just flip the signs and then be like, hey, let me draw this.
Hey, let me draw this.
Because it might be easier for you to know the rule than to try to draw it in your head. I personally like the rule better than drawing. I can follow rules. Drawings I'm not so talented at.
Can't follow
Okay, so if I follow the rule, then I can map my points after it. If it says
Yeah.
this rotated 180 degrees,
Then we just.
then I'm gonna say, okay, let me flip the signs, then I'll map it out for
What
you.
if I'm not so good at it?
Wait,
Well,
oh.
get good at one.
You just do the signs and you just put them on the graph and then you connect them.
Yeah, then you connect the dots, make your shape.
Wait, how would you
Bada
do
bing,
it
bada
other than
boom.
that?
I'm not good at drawing.
Okay.
It's
Scoop
fine.
scoop away.
Very.
That's with 180. Now look, this is with 90, and I'm gonna give you a chart at the end too because it's gonna be a little bit different. Okay? This is 90. It says reverse the x and y coordinates. Reverse the x and y coordinates. Take the opposite of the new y coordinate. So with 90 degrees clockwise, you have a little bit of a different rule. You're reversing the x and y coordinates, you're flipping them, and then you're taking the opposite of the new y coordinate. Okay? So here I have negative 3, 2. My new a would get switched, yes, to
Yeah.
negative 3. And then I take the opposite of the y, so it becomes 2, positive 3. Okay, so if I graph 2, positive 3, that should be here. This is my mapped A then. Okay, what would happen to B? What would it become first?
Oh,
Four,
4, 3,
three,
Or
four.
negative 3 and then
Then
4,
4,
3.
3.
1, 2, 3, 4, 3, right? What about C?
It would become
That would be 4, 7.
4, 7.
4, 7.
And yeah.
I remember
1,
it was
2,
4,
3,
7.
4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then this
Just not be able to remember.
is it rotated 90 degrees clockwise. Oh, it should be down. Yeah, no, okay, clockwise.
So negative 3, 1 would become 1, 3.
Yes. So then I'm going to give you a little cheat chart.
I love cheating.
Cheat sheet.
Wow,
You don't
okay, I hate when that happens. Okay, so
Wait, we're taking.
let's look at, let me give you this. Rotation. Okay, and you can copy this down. Original point.
What?
Oh, this is like actual like working. This.
This is like the whole cheat sheet for what we just talked about on these two things. So if you go 90 degrees clockwise, okay, which we just did right there, yes? Let's say it started at x, y. What does it become?
Oh, y, x.
Y,
Negative x.
negative x. Okay, and they're gonna ask you to do this on your homework too, where there's not numbers there, there's just letters. Okay? Now, there's a different rule for 90 degrees counterclockwise. Okay? Counterclockwise, you're going to switch. What do you think you're gonna switch?
X and y. The x.
Let's say it starts x, y. Okay? You switch x, y, but this time, yes, this time the negative goes with the y.
Well, technically goes with the x.
Right. So clockwise, you switch x, y, and the new y is negative. Counterclockwise, you switch x, y, and the new x is negative.
I kind of like this.
Okay?
This is kind of fun and fresh.
180 degrees. This counter and clockwise are the same rule.
Wow.
Because think about 180 degrees, what are you essentially doing?
I could say that.
Flipping it a little.
Yeah, so it's the same rule. Okay?
Moving it.
If it's X, Y, what did we decide it became?
Negative X, negative Y.
Yeah. So there's your little cheat sheet.
I love your handwriting, it's so pretty.
I just wanna
You know who
thank
also has good handwriting? Abby.
Yeah, you're right.
It's hard handwriting.
How many times?
Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Can we remember rules?
Yeah.
Well, do we need to remember rules?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, yes.
Except for the take.
Because I'm telling you right now, at least for me, because I told you I cannot visualize things well, especially on rotation. I'm very bad at visualizing rotation. This saves me. And if I know that something's being rotated like, let's say 45 degrees, I can kind of use these, I'll teach you how to do it. I can kind of use these rules to cheat a little bit, you know?
Yes.
Because
Cheating.
half of 90 is
Oh, that's great.
45. So I can work
So
within
much
some rules.
It's not even mine, I found this.
Oh, yeah. We'll go to that in a minute. Before that, I want to read you a word problem. I want to see what you think.
Okay.
Okay. Let's say that you have a wheel.
Ooh, love
Okay.
these. Wheels on the bus go.
What kind of vehicle is it on?
Is it what?
The bus? The wheels in the bus?
One time Anna and Garrett were playing with this, like,
You're going to pretend that all of those are even because I can't make 5 equal segments, but there's 5 segments there.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay, 5 segments. And let's say that a wheel, okay, using the wheel center as the center of rotation, which would make sense, a wheel rotates around its center, right? Okay, what is the angle of rotation from A to B? If I say from here to here, clockwise.
Okay, it's a 5, and
Then
it's
it's 72
180.
degrees.
What is
Okay.
72 times 3?
It is, it's 72 degrees for this one, 72 degrees for this one, 72 degrees for this one, which is what?
Let me think, that's 6, and then 14, and then 21, 216.
Beautiful.
Degrees.
Degrees. Okay, so on your homework, if they ask you for angle of rotation or the degrees of rotation, that's what you're simply doing. You're taking however many sides there are first, taking 360, because every object fits inside of a circle. Okay, I can draw a circle around every object, which means there's 360 degrees around every object.
Can't.
So I take the number of sides, take 360, divide it by those number of sides, I get the rotation for each little tick, and then I just figure out how many I need.
Can't circle
Okay.
around here.
Now, the other thing,
Can't draw a circle
I just
around
wanted
the
to look at a couple things online. Oh, and I wanna give you this. Okay,
Yes.
'Cause you
but this isn't your homework.
I'm not online.
This is like some notes, so we're gonna, to kinda just help us visualize a little more.
This is due tomorrow.
Not what that like.
This isn't homework, this is my, okay,
That
so
just
look.
scared me. I was like,
Look right here, on the front of this, right? It shows you clocks, which gives us a good counterclockwise and clockwise rotation, okay? On a clock, my counterclockwise, of course, is when I go opposite, this way, okay? And listen, on your homework, it will always show you which direction it's going. See how the outside has this big loop? That tells me counter. You see how here it's inside? That tells me it's clockwise. Okay, on your homework page and stuff, it will probably show you with arrows, so pay attention to what direction it's pointing,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? So if I went from the 2 all the way to the 4, okay? On a clock, what degrees of rotation would that be?
180. I mean,
Well, it's
360.
12 divided by 36, right?
What? No.
You can do it that way, yes, you can do it that way.
Yes, you can do it. Sorry, Miss Eve.
What's 12 divided by 360? Or 360 divided by 12?
40.
It's like
Oh, 30.
oh
30.
12 is
30. So if you go from, so if I go from 2 to 4, how many sets of 30 do I have?
2 to 4.
60.
2, 60.
What?
No, I'm going from this 2 to that
120.
4. I am going, listen, I'm going counterclockwise, I'm not going clockwise.
5, 6,
So
7.
10 total?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what's 30?
33.
So it's 300 degrees. But when you write that down, you don't write 300 degrees, you write it one of 2 ways. You say 300 degrees counter clockwise,
Can you just put counter or
Where
clock?
do I write this?
or you put negative 300 degrees, because when you go counterclockwise, you're going negative degrees.
If we would have,
He's like, I'm out. Yes, Abby.
if we would have done, like, can you do it how we started doing it, how like there were like 60 and then you just subtract 60 from 360? And then you
Yes,
get
you can do
300?
it that way.
I think that was easier.
That's fine, if you wanna work backwards, that's fine. Yes, you can do it that way, but still you have to give me negative 300 or 300 degrees
Where
counterclockwise.
am I?
She's saying, Abby's saying this,
So
she
that's
knows
60.
between 2 and 4, there's 60 degrees, so just take 60 minus
We
360.
started doing.
Okay, so that's what I'm looking for. This just has some examples on it. If you flip over to the back of the page, okay, it wants you to show 180 degrees a negative 180 degrees clockwise. Okay, how do I show negative 180 degree clockwise?
I don't know that. You go under the thing.
Semicircle.
Okay, I think it only wants us to show, don't let this fool you, it's not really negative in front of there, because on the other side it's not. What's 180 degree clockwise?
Negative
This
70.
way, it just goes to the other point.
It just goes from here, right?
Yeah,
Okay? All the way to
Straight
here.
line.
This is 180.
Yeah.
That's 180 degrees clockwise. Now, what about 270 counterclockwise?
you go the other way.
So I go from here, this is 45, or 90, this is 180, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
What's 270 then?
180,
halfway.
20, 70, that's
The
94
third
degrees.
line.
Oh my gosh, just another
The
one.
third line.
Okay, yeah, the
Yeah.
third line.
It's to this line, right? Yeah.
No, it's to the next one.
1, 2, 3
That
lines.
line.
4
Oh,
lines.
it's starting on the other side. Okay,
Yeah.
I see now.
So this is negative 270 when I go that way, okay? There's
That's
some
just
like,
Saying negative
clockwise.
it's not a negative in front of that, what? What's a thing negative clockwise? Negative one.
How is that even possible?
What do you mean?
It says negative 180.
It's not, I told you those are just, they just have
I
dash marks.
heard you say that, but then it didn't really
They're
understand.
registered, that's okay.
Okay.
Okay, and then, there are 3 like little ones for you to practice. I want you to practice on those for the, triangles before I give you homework. Cool?
Cool.
So practice those real quick and then we'll go over them. And I believe you can do it with